The environmental issue is more challenging, right? Um, it it's like, our limited ability to be collectively conscious is really just not up to the task. For our entire history as a species, we've just gone through this technological progress and changing our cultures and our ways of being, and none of that has been a conscious decision, and a lot of the stuff we've decided to do on a collective level has led to societal collapses, right? I mean, so the Vikings of Greenland, for example, they just utterly devastated their environment and made it unsustainable for them to live there, and I mean, in ancient cultures, often it was soil exhaustion, right? I think the Anasazis, that's the reason that's really given for their collapse. I mean, of course there was a big drought as well, but they overfarmed their land, and I mean, we believe that's why they had a collapse, and that's true of who else? Oh, and God, the Easter Island people. I mean, just what a horrific, potential microcosm that is of humanity as a whole. Just how they utterly devastated their environment until they were utterly collapsed and their population became smaller than it used to be. And their technology, they couldn't even make any seagoing vessels anymore. And I'll give a link to that information if anybody's interested, because I know that's not common knowledge. But so anyway, connecting the pieces and trying to articulate this a little bit better than I did the first time. I was concerned about environmental issues, realized that to address environmental issues, it didn't make sense to work on environmental issues directly. It made sense to work on creating the infrastructure for us to be able to be collectively conscious so that we could actually decide to do things, instead of having everything we do collectively be basically unconscious. And I guess the key element I left out of that was that, and I guess I've done a lot of repeating, I hope this isn't boring, because I did already say a lot of those concepts the first time around, but the key part, I guess, the kind of connecting point I missed out, I did not say the first time, is that to become collectively conscious, I see it as very important for us to become more connected. Like if we're neurons of a global brain that's forming more connections before it awakens to consciousness, connections are really important. So YouTube videos are an interesting new way of one-to-many, but also many-to-many communication, which is really necessary, I think, for us to reach that kind of place of collective awakening and being able to act with conscious intent on a collective level. That's something I wanted to experience and participate in and understand. So that's why I'm doing a YouTube video. So I wanted to connect those points. I also, a couple other things about the first 15 minutes. I said my mother apparently thinks that, or my mother seems to think, or something like that I might be manic depressive, and that felt a little, perhaps, disrespectful of my mother. I mean, because she is a psychologist, but she's not only a psychologist, but she's a trained Jungian analyst, and she's extremely intelligent and very good at what she does. And if her assessment is that I'm manic depressive, or she thinks that seems to be a good way of understanding me, then that certainly deserves to be given great weight. And certainly, from what I've looked at, how I understand manic depression, that seems like that could be a diagnosis that makes sense. Anyway, but certainly it's scary. God, I mean, the reason I'm willing to go on a drug that would, drugs that are designed to affect people's minds, would be that, well, it's uncomfortable for me, it's not about me. I have not been effective in my life. I need to do something to be effective, and even if it's not comfortable for me, even if it's scary for me, it's not about me. I need to do this for the world, so I need to become effective. So I'm willing to try out being on a drug. Alright, so I do have a timer now. 4 minutes 30 seconds till the memory card runs out. Oh yeah, and I also talked about how I was getting close to being suicidal. I do have a profound commitment to being in life. I just wanted to, I was looking at that and I was thinking, well, that's something that often is shocking to people. It's often taken to be a cry for help. For me, I feel like the thing that matters most to me is being able to value the world, to honor the world, to look at something and see it as beautiful, to see a sunset, a tree, a person as beautiful and really value them. And that is the most important thing I can do. That's the most important thing we can do, I feel, is to honor life. That by honoring life, you're making the universe be of value. So, I mean, that includes me. I am part of life, and it feels like it'd be an act of perfidy to take my own life. It is important to honor life, including myself, but also to be alive, to be able to honor life. Now, of course, I do have a profound debt to make up. I mean, I'm responsible for releasing tons, perhaps thousands of tons of carbon into the atmosphere just simply by the electricity I've used in my life, and it's a heavy thing to agree to be alive in this world. And I suppose I could, reduce my carbon emissions by probably 90%, but I believe that I have relatively low carbon emissions for an American right now. I mean responsible for carbon emissions, relatively low amount. But I think it's important to use those tools that living in an unsustainable manner gives us, so that we can become effective, so that we can achieve excuse me, a higher level of development collectively, so that we can eventually reach a sustainable way of living. Okay, so 1 minute and 45 seconds left. Talked with Elaine yesterday. Elaine is very clearly dangerous. She's damaged a lot of people. She's a very dangerous person to associate with. It's very clear that she's lied a lot to protect herself, and in doing so, had profoundly damaging effects on other people's lives. She has to be my Facebook friend. I wasn't even aware that she stopped being my Facebook friend. And I didn't want to say no. If somebody's asking to be my friend, I don't want to say no. I do want to keep the door open. I do want to be human with people. So, and then she sent me a message over Facebook. So, and despite other things about Elaine, she's actually fairly psychologically astute. Well, she got a bachelor's degree in psychology, so I think that's a lot of that probably explains a lot of it. But I believe that she was communicating with me honestly over that period, and she, did allude to doing things to try to hurt me. So, if she's willing to be honest and whatever, maybe I should trust her. It's always good to give people the benefit of the doubt and trust them. And anyway, it felt good. It felt like there's potential for You know, maybe she might even be willing to be courageous and help me and try to repair some of the damage she did. So that makes me feel good. There's a lot more I could express, but I mean, this is a fairly long vlog. I think I've gone on for half an hour now. And I'll see how I feel about it, and I'll perhaps do more. Yeah.